Hello, everybody. Jay Weidner here. Glad you could join me. We're going to be talking about, I guess, my views on the paranormal and possibly even get into UFOs if I can get there. But for now, it's going to be a bit of a trip. I may have to do it in several shows because I really want to get um, I really want to get these ideas out. I feel like it's time. So I'm going to start out by again referencing David Wilcock and Corey Good's new film, uh, Cosmic Secret. And what they do in Cosmic Secret is they pretty much equate alchemy and I mean, not alchemy, the apocalypse and mass ascension. And they spend the last quarter of the film basically just talking about ascension, that there's going to be soon a mass ascension. And what's really going on, of course, is that they're just creating their future cults with the movie. And but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is, um, what is ascension? What do they mean by ascension? And why are the two of them equating the apocalypse with this mass ascension? And the reason that that is going on is because you can't ascend while you're alive. You can only ascend at death. And ascension isn't guaranteed either. Um, you can descend. It depends on how you lived your life. So what's going on is there is there's like a parallel universe, and we're living in it. And it's an astral universe or a plasma universe, and then of course our physical universe. And um, so there's a a double sun, an astral sun and a physical sun. There's a double galaxy, an astral galaxy and a physical galaxy. And there's a double Earth, the astral Earth and the physical Earth. And there's a double you. There's your physical body, and then there's your astral or plasma body. And when you astral travel, that's your astral body or your plasma body. And the cord, the astral cord, is really just a string of plasma that's connected, that connects you, your physical body, to your astral body. When they look at galaxies, including our own Milky Way, you would think that these pinwheel style galaxies would, as they spin, the outside stars would be moving faster than the inside stars to keep up with everything. But that's not what you find. What you find is the whole galaxy moves all at once, all the same. And scientists are like, wonder why that's going on. And the reason that's going on is because the galaxy is cemented together, you might say, by this astral galaxy or the plasma galaxy. And it holds the whole thing. And so what you're really seeing is that galaxies are actually almost like living beings. And they may even have sentience. I don't know. And so scientists, astrophysicists, have discovered what they call dark matter. Now, they don't know what dark matter is, not really, that they can see the effects of it. So they know it exists. And it's not really dark. So that's just a kind of a misnomer. It's really invisible matter. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about invisible matter. And so the Earth has uh, a layer of dark matter or this plasma or all around it. It goes out really far, like beyond the orbit of the moon, or maybe to the orbit of the moon. So the moon is what, 240,000 miles away. So it's 10 Earths away, I guess. Yeah, you could fit 10 Earths in that. So that's how big this plasma field around the Earth is. And this plasma field, you can actually see the what I'm talking about, because there are like plasma beings that live in this plasma field. And um, if you want to see that, you can Google, or not Google, YouTube, uh, NASA Space Shuttle mission uh, electric tether experiment. and where they rolled out a wire out of the space shuttle, and they videotaped this, and the wire was out, I think, like a mile out from the space shuttle, connected to the space shuttle though, and they got a jolt that almost put out the space shuttle when they did this, proving that, of course, the space is filled with this electricity. That's why I call it plasma, because it has an electrical substance to it. And but as they were videotaping this wire, all of these orbs began showing up and flying around the wire, and as if they were attracted to it. And that's what these one of the ways that these beings that live in this astral world look like. They look like orbs, and when sometimes they can bleed through, and that's what's going on with ghosts, UFOs, I believe, for the most part, apparitions. These are bleed throughs from the astral world that we see occasionally if we're in the right place at the right time. I've been fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time, maybe 4 or 5 times in my life, and I've actually seen these bleed throughs. I saw one time I was uh, out in southern Colorado, a nice sunny day, no wind, and I looked up in the sky and I saw a translucent thing in the sky about maybe 30 or 40 feet above my head. And at first I thought it was a plastic bag, like a sandwich bag or a bigger sandwich bag floating, in the wind. But then I realized there was no wind. And so I kept looking, trying to figure out what this thing I was seeing was. And as I looked, I began to see it looked like a manta ray, those underwater animals. And it flapped its wings, like, it had wings and it was flapping like it was using, flying through air. But you could see right through it. And I was just completely transfixed by this thing and watching it for maybe 30 or 40 seconds when a second one showed up and the two started dancing with each other. And I was like, what? And then a third one showed up. And I had three of them all dancing in the air, swimming and in the air. But I could just barely see them because, if you weren't looking at them really close, you would have just missed it because they were just so translucent. And then they just kind of danced away from me, to another part of the area that I was at until they disappeared. And so that's actually one of the impetuses for my getting into all of this, trying to explain it, because I think it's really important to explain what is going on with this haunted planet, as John Keel once said, because it is a haunted planet. Um, so around the Earth are these plasma fields, and they're like an onion, layered like an onion. And there's 7 of them, according to Emanuel Swedenborg, who is an occultist, and the alchemists say there's 7 heavens. And each of these realms, each one of these 7 realms of 8 astral realms or plasma realms that they have a different quality. Swedenborg rewrote a book called Heaven and Hell, which he astrally travels to these realms, and then he writes down what happened in his travels. And also, the late Robert Monroe, wrote a bunch of books about his out of the body experiences. He actually started the Monroe Institute, where you can learn how to astral travel, which is a thing that probably you should learn how to do because it's a very interesting thing, and you can learn a lot from it. So Swedenborg says that some of the of these 7 realms have different particular qualities. One is a place where you learn about basically how wrong the spiritual teachings that you learned were here on Earth while you were here. So you actually become, you know, uh, I was raised a Catholic, so I don't believe in what things that Catholicism teaches necessarily. But if I was a devout Catholic, I would go to a realm, and in that realm, I'd pretty much be shown what BS Catholicism is, right? So like enlightening, sort of like a psychic shower. A lot of realms are built just on a pleasure. One of the realms supposedly has incredible architecture. that you can go in, and it's all made out of light. Well, it should be because it's plasma, so it would look like it's made of light. And then, of course, so it looks sort of like the night scenes in Avatar. That's what that realm would look like, um, which were fantastically filmed. So. So we see by this that the entire universe is alive because plasma is what keeps us alive. Our blood has plasma in it, and the universe actually looks like plasma. They've taken, Hubble telescope has taken pictures of of the electrical plasma currents that are floating in space, and they look just like the electrical currents that are in our blood. And so I believe that the universe is alive, and that we can explore that universe, or we can also, which would be, kind of occultism, astral travel, that kind of thing, or we can be alchemists, and then what we do is in alchemy is we're drawing that energy out of that parallel universe into this universe, into something that will cause it to concentrate, and then we consume it. And when we consume it, we have an extended life. And again, alchemists don't want to have an extended life because they're greedy and they want to live forever. They don't want to live forever. They want to ascend. But one of the keys to understanding all of these occult and spiritual practices is that you cannot really get off the physical plane of the earth permanently until you know everything about this place. That lets you graduate not just into the plasma realms, where we all go if we're good people, but we don't go there forever. We come back and reincarnate, taking what we've learned in the plasma realm that existed in between the death, and then the next life. So you die, and if you're a good person, you go up into one of these seven heavens, probably a lower one, where you learn things that you need to know for when you come back. But, and here's the most important part, there's also seven hells. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was an Art Bell show. It must have been 15 years ago, maybe more, where he played tapes of miners who were in deep mines. And of course, miners have been talking about these things for a long time, but now we can record them and hear them. But it sounds like people screaming, like a mass of people in agony. And it's really, the hair on your neck will just stand up. And if the things that I've learned through all of my studies are right, then then when you die, your soul is weighed, and if it's lighter than a feather, you ascend. If it's heavier than a feather, you descend. And you go, you don't do it forever. You just go in there and it's hot and it's constricted and you're in, the subsurface of the earth, stuck. And probably you slowly ascend back to the surface until you're born again. And hopefully you learn from that experience that, you don't want to lie, cheat, and steal and kill and all that other stuff, because that puts weight on your soul, and therefore you go down, not up. So the goal is to go up. Okay. And what I'm trying to tell you is that your actions here on the physical earth have consequences, sometimes dire consequences. And so you need to know and act every day as if you're trying to lighten your soul. You're trying to take the burden off your soul. So what we see in the physical world all around us is forces that want to add weight to our soul. They get us in wars, they lie to us, they cheat to us, and in some ways kind of teaching us how to lie and cheat. And these people are, pornography, heavy, hard drugs, alcohol, all these things put weight on your soul, violence. And so the whole point is and you can defend yourself, but I mean people who actually go out and create violence for no reason. So everything is a determination, and it's up to you to make that determination. And the realms of ascension are real. And they are places that you can go, and they're really nice. If anybody's ever astrally traveled to one of these realms, they're very nice. But there are also the dark realms, and you need to worry about that. So I think that when David and Corey are talking about ascension and then equating it in the same film with the apocalypse, I think that that's a very dangerous thing to do. I think that making masses of people excited about mass death is a bad thing to do. And I think that their souls are going to be weighted by this kind of endeavor. And we know that David, of course, is starting his own church. And so I guess they're taking this thing, all the way to the end. And so be it. But I want you guys to know that you don't want mass ascension. You want to be personally ready for your own ascension, but you don't want a mass ascension. And this is what I believe that the New World Order, the Cabal want. They want us to die. They want us to go. And so they're doing everything they can to put out propaganda saying how horrible we are, how much destruction we're causing to the environment. They got that poor Greta Thunberg. My God, she is a victim of child abuse. Girl, you're going to still be here in 50 years. Learn to live your life and have fun, okay? The global warming scam is just another thing put on by these same people. If anything, an ice age is coming. All right, so I think I've said enough about this subject. I'm going to go into other things, especially how to draw energy out of these dark matter, plasma, astral realms, and how to travel in these astral realms, and a lot more to talk about. So, anyway, I'm Jay Weidner. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back some other time, I hope.